Good evening. I'm Greg Sharpe. Here is tonight's sports ticker. The Husker softball team left today for East Lansing, Michigan, where they will take part in the Big Ten tournament, which starts tomorrow. The Huskers, the number 2 seed, get a bye. They will face the winner of the Indiana-Penn State game Thursday morning. First pitch slated to be at 10 a.m. We'll have the broadcast here on the Huskers radio network. Big Ten baseball games today. In the bottom of the fourth, Xavier leads Michigan 3-0. Top of the fourth, it is Butler 4, Purdue 3. Ohio State losing 4-0 to Campbell in the third inning. Top of the fourth, 16th ranked Notre Dame leads Michigan State 6-0. Bottom of the third, 7th ranked Louisville 2, Indiana 1. Georgetown in the bottom of the fourth leading Penn State 3-0. And later tonight, Northwestern and Milwaukee. It was announced today that current Tampa Bay quarterback Tom Brady, when he retires, he is going to sign a lucrative contract with Fox Sports to be their lead analyst. The deal is reported to be worth $375 million over 10 years. NBA playoffs continue tonight with a couple of Game 5s. Bottom of the hour, Philadelphia at Miami and Dallas at Phoenix tonight at 9. Both those series is tied at 2 games apiece. The puck has dropped in Carolina in the NHL, where the Hurricanes and Bruins have skated to a 2-2 series tie. Game 5 tonight. There are 3 other Game 5s in the NHL, all knotted at 2, with Tampa and Toronto, St. Louis and Minnesota, and Los Angeles and Edmonton all set to play tonight. Afternoon baseball, doubleheader. The Tigers and the A's playing in Detroit. The Tigers win Game 1 6-0. The A's lead the nightcap 3-0 in the 7th inning. The Dodgers ahead of the Pirates 2-0 in the top of the 2nd. No score with the Brewers and the Reds in the bottom of the 1st. And also just getting underway, the Mets and the Nationals in D.C. That's the ticker. I'm Greg Sharpe.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
And Andrews swings, and that's a high fly ball. Left center and deep, and it is gone! The 19th home run of the year for Billy Andrews, and this game is tied at 3!
And the 2-1 pitch. Max swings and hits one well to left. That pushes Merrill back. He's to the track. He's to the wall. It is gone. Max Anderson, a 3-run homer to left field. And Nebraska is back out in front, 6-4.
2-ball pitch. And Gray swings and lifts it. Deep left field. All the way back. Minute. And it is gone. A towering home run over the scoreboard in left. And the Huskers take the lead.
1-1 to Griffin Everett. Sem's pitch. Shot down the first base line, and that is a fair ball. Scoring is Efry. Rounding third is Chick. He's going to score. Headed to third and being held at third is Anglem. It's a 2-run double from Griffin Everett, and the Huskers increase their lead to 11-5.
Felder swings and lines it back up the middle. Base hit to center. Andrews scores. Huskers win. Huskers win. Huskers win. Huskers win 5-4.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Welcome to our Sports Nightly show here on a Tuesday night. We got a great 2 hours lined up for you tonight. Coming up in hour number 2, we're going to talk about the new movie that's coming out this weekend called Day by Day. It's going to focus on Husker football from 1993 to 1997. What a wonderful year for Tom Osborne's Husker team. The producer of that movie, Justin LaPera, is going to join us. Can't wait to talk to him. Hour 1, though, we're going to talk NIL, name, image, likeness, and the expert on that here at the university, Jamie Vaughn, who is the Executive Associate Athletic Director in charge of compliance for Nebraska, is going to be with us for an entire hour. Thank you, first of all, for just carving out an hour to come spend the night here with Jessica and me.
Absolutely. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the time.
We are delighted. I can't wait for this because I need to educate myself more on this. That started last July the 1st. So just let's start with this. A simple explanation of what name, image, likeness is for the folks out there listening.
Sure. I mean, so basically, historically, college athletes were not able to be paid for the use of their name or their pictures or appearing at an event. So the way that they would get out in the community would be through like our life skills program as an example, but they couldn't be paid for that. It was voluntary activity. And what changed was their ability to finally monetize and have the opportunity to be paid to show up and do a speaking appearance, promote a company. You've seen examples with our own student athletes this past year. They may partner with a business. It just gave them the ability to basically have a new type of job that they were never able to have before.
How would you describe the last year since July 1st?
Yeah, I described it the other day as almost like dog years. So 10 years is what 10 months has felt like for us. It's been a time period where there's constant change, and it's actually an everyday thing. We're constantly monitoring what's going on around the country, what's going on here locally, what kind of feedback are we hearing from our peers, the conference office, and it's just been something new and different all the time.
Where do you monitor that? Like, where do you go to find all that information?
Obviously, we're all social media. I'm not an expert in that area, but we have some people in our office, Jonathan Bateman, who works very closely with me on this particular topic, is very in tune, and several of my staff members are more adept at monitoring social media, so they do that. And then the internet, we have phone calls, meetings with the Big Ten.
Because, I mean, the information is coming constantly.
It's all the time. And so we also subscribe to a few different things that allow us to get, and there's the D1 ticker is an example, where we get daily headlines, and NIL is its own thing every day.
How have you gone about just educating athletes, and how much are they reaching out to you or members of your staff to get some advice on this whole thing?
It's evolved. At first, we were telling them about it, telling them what the rules were, what the guidelines were. But we also, as a department, had a concerted effort at the beginning. When all of this began, we had programming already scheduled to be in place through our life skills program. We have a partnership with the business school. And so we've had guest speakers come in. We've had guest speakers from the law college come over and talk about a variety of topics. So we had programming in place. We still have it in place. But as it's evolved and grown and opportunities have presented themselves, the student athletes are now coming to us more with questions.
When did you, I guess, can you take us back to maybe when, especially here at Nebraska, when you kind of felt, okay, this is coming, this is a for sure thing coming, and how can we be the best prepared for it we possibly can?
It was honestly at least a year in advance. We knew that we were working toward that moment last July, and so for a long period of time, even through the pandemic, we were preparing for what the future might look like. And then as we got closer and closer to July, it became apparent that it was absolutely going to happen. And so there was a lot of work being done behind the scenes by a lot of people to make sure we were prepared for that day.
So you're working on educating the athletes.
Yep.
How about the coaches? I mean, obviously they need to kind of wrap their mind around this as well.
Yeah, so well, as an executive staff, we meet with the head coaches on a regular basis. And so that's been an ongoing topic with the coaches collectively, and then there's been a lot of individual meetings that we've had to have with our coaches as things have evolved and opportunities have presented themselves, and as collectives have become more of a thing, we've had to make sure that we're meeting and talking. And so some of it happens through meetings, but some of it is also just literally day by day, passing people in the hallway, stopping, talking, setting up a time to have a meeting, and making sure that we communicate.
I guess, can you describe what a collective is? Because I've had a lot of those questions too. Maybe dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially a booster group, to be honest with you.
Okay.
It's a group of dedicated supporters who have pooled their financial resources to help create opportunities for the student athletes. So we have one, I would say, very established one here in Lincoln right now. There's another one that just started recently that got their paperwork done with the state of Nebraska about a month ago, and there's a third one that's working to establish itself.
If money exchanges hands from a collective to a student athlete, does there have to be a service performed? Does there have to be a photo shoot, an appearance, being in an ad or something? Does there have to be an exchange there?
Yes. And so essentially NIL opportunities are employment, they're jobs. And so we've had rules in place for years, guys, that have required an athlete to earn the money. It's not a no-show job.
Yeah.
It's not a, just stop by and grab some money. It's work. And so we're defining what that market is in real time right now. So you'll see a lot of deals around the country, like how could somebody possibly be making that kind of money? Well, there's not really an established market. We're establishing it in real time. So it's a job, and they do have to, there has to be some sort of service provided by the student athlete to earn them the money.
So when, this all became legal a year ago and, it's just kind of some places were ready, some weren't, and there was no kind of regulations, I guess, in place. Would you have ever fathomed that it would have taken off and been to where it is today?
I don't know that I would have thought it would get this crazy this fast.
Yeah.
I do think we had an idea that it was going to creep into the recruiting space, and it has, and that's really, I think, what led to some decisions yesterday by the NCAA to inform us a little bit more. But I would say it's grown exponentially and a lot faster than I expected it to, for sure.
So now do you think they're trying to pull it back then and regulate it a little bit more?
A little bit.
Yeah.
The thing is that the guidance we got yesterday from the NCAA is nothing new. Nothing they put out is a new rule or a new decision. It's a re-emphasis of what the rules have always been. And I think when this all happened last summer, it was so new and different that people didn't really know where to place it in the landscape of what we do in college athletics. And so this was a reminder that at the end of the day, we have rules about what your boosters can do. We have rules about employment. These are the rules, guys.
Yeah.
Pay attention, because we're going to probably start enforcing this a little bit more now.
Because student athletes could have jobs, part-time jobs, when before, I guess now it's just more so they can capitalize on autographs, like you were saying. I guess sometimes it's hard to fathom that okay, well, they could work before, but now it's the same thing. They're just working. You still have to go through all the same rules.
Yes, and it's such a different type of work that I think people misplaced what it really is. If you're getting paid to autograph something, or if you're getting paid to tweet something about a business,
right?
That's not like going and working at a restaurant and being serving food on the weekends, or being a short order cook or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just a different type of employment.
I'm old. Guys used to go work on the farm and bale hay in the summer. That's how they did their workouts. Jamie Vaughn is with us. He's the head of compliance at Nebraska. We're going to talk NIL for this hour. If you want to fire off a text to us, we can certainly relay that to Jamie at 402-413-2400. We're also up on our YouTube stream. In fact, Crypto King on our YouTube stream, Jamie, wonders about NIL taxes. Do the athletes have to file taxes on all their deals, or is this a tax-free entity?
It's just like every other job.
It's like an employment. You're going to get a W-2.
Yep. You're going to do the same thing, the same limits. Some of them get 1099 forms, but all of the student athletes are going to be responsible for taking care of their taxes just like they would if they worked at any other type of job.
And I'm sure that was part of the education you had to give the athletes.
It's been part of the education. We're going to need to continue to do that and educate, and I think we're just a month past the tax deadline, so we don't know if any of our athletes have any issues yet. But I think as this continues, we'll sort through that. But we have done education on that and reminded them. But yeah, it's just like any other job.
So my dad claimed me till he couldn't. So what? That's like 25, I think.
Yeah. 24, 25.
So are you having to talk with parents too about how to navigate this as well?
We haven't talked with the parents as much. A lot of most of the communication has been with the athletes and the coaches directly. We have answered questions at times. We've gotten a lot of emails from parents or phone calls from parents to ask questions, both domestically and internationally.
So, but if, like, okay, for example, if they don't take care of what they're supposed to take care of, and then a business, that's could affect them, and then maybe they don't want to work with you again, right? If
Absolutely.
That's, yeah.
I think our student athletes are going to learn a lot of life lessons here.
Oh, yeah.
Because this isn't just, this is an investment. These businesses, while they support Husker athletics, I mean, it's their business, it's their livelihood. And so they want a return on the investment as well. So I think a lot of life lessons will be learned. And if you make a poor decision or tarnish your own reputation, maybe a business decides not to work with you anymore.
I think you've hit on something that really may change in the coming years, is that return on investment part of it. Right now it's all fun and good things, good times happen, but when you have somebody to endorse your product and something goes bad, that business could go, "Ooh, okay, I've learned my lesson, I don't want to do that again." I think this will continue to evolve as we go, don't you, in the next 3 to 5 years?
I do, and one thing that we've talked about in our exec staff meetings is the importance of trying to be competitive in this space right now, but also not be too far out front. Like, you have to be a little bit cautious and make sure you understand how this is evolving. And I do expect that some people that have invested will choose not to in the future.
Probably. We need to take a break.
I was
Great to
gonna
have
say,
Jamie with us.
We're going to keep rolling.
Absolutely. We've got so much more to get into. This is our show about name, image, likeness, NIL. If you've got some thoughts you want to fire off text, you can do that on our Woodhouse Auto Family hotline. It is brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse first. 18 brands, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. A lot more with Jamie coming up next.
The 2022 Nissan Rogue Sport is street savvy, road trip ready, and always fun to drive. Equipped with standard features like rear automatic braking, blind spot warning, and high beam assist, so you can surround yourself with confidence on the road. Plus, explore the 3 Rogue Sport trims to find the one that's right for you and your lifestyle. Choose your experience and shop, finance, and purchase online at woodhouse.com or in store at Woodhouse Nissan in Bellevue or at Woodhouse Place.
A tradition of winning doesn't happen overnight. Like any team, you got to be tough, play smart, and work hard. No one understands this more than Ford Motor Company. They built the best team in the game with Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks 45 years straight, the iconic Ford Bronco, and the most powerful Ford Explorer ever. Shop online at buyfordnow.com or visit your local Ford dealer to buy or custom build the perfect truck or SUV for you. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
Momentum. It's building at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln with game-changing work in precision agriculture, nanoscience, and digital humanities. We're unlocking mysteries in brain research, solving the impossible with remote surgery using robots, and we're creating bold futures with world-leading research in early childhood education. We don't slow down, and we're not letting up. We are Nebraska.
Levitt's first one. And Glatter swings and lets the high fly ball. Left center and deep. It's gone and we're tied. Grand slam Glatter. We're tied at 8. Nebraska softball begins Big Ten tournament play Thursday on the Huskers radio network. Hear all the action as the Huskers play for the conference tournament title and the automatic bid to regionals on the Huskers radio network, Huskers.com, and the official Nebraska Athletics app.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Huskers fans, it's time to plan your dream trip to Ireland and see your team face the Northwestern Wildcats at Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland. Single game tickets are on sale now at huskers.com/Ireland. Start the 2022 season in the best way. Plan your dream trip to Ireland and see your team face the Northwestern Wildcats at Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland. Buy your single game ticket today at huskers.com/Ireland.
Did you ever buy something and get more than you expected? Emeritus offers insurance, employee benefits, and financial services, but we deliver so much more. The comfort of a human voice when you need it. The confidence of flashing a beautiful smile, the relief that your family can keep living the life they love, the serenity of knowing you've planned well and can enjoy life. That's what we really deliver. We call it fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services, and much more.
You always dreamed of owning your own farm. Now you're living your dream, and it's time to pick the tractor that makes it all come together. Massey Ferguson has reinvented what compact and utility tractors can be and redefined what they do, making them easier to operate, more comfortable to drive, more versatile than ever. Massey Ferguson gives Nebraska farmers the power and performance to win in the field. MERS Farm Equipment in Falls City, Nebraska. www.mersfarmequipment.com.
When you're a sports fan, it's kind of like having a new love interest. You want to know all about them. Only instead of learning about someone's third-grade crush, you want to know the latest scores, stats, and lineups. To get that, you need Cox Internet. Cox gives you that window to look deeply into your beloved team's soul. Not to mention their injury list. Cox, we're sports 24/7. Learn more at cox.com/sports.
From sprains and stitches to sore throats and sinus infections. When it's care that can't wait, count on CHI Health Clinic Priority Care. Simply walk in 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You'll get the quality care you need without an appointment, and you'll never pay more than a regular primary care visit. Get in, get out, and get on with your day. Find a location near you at chihealth.com/priority care.
Everyone knows that Dakota Mac is known for their great rates on long-term fixed ag real estate loans. But just how long-term are they? Well, even longer term than your first ride on the Gravitron at the county fair. And even longer term than the line to buy the corn dog you definitely shouldn't have eaten before you got on the Gravitron. Oof, so long-term.
Hi, it's Nick Renault with Dakota Mac. Call me at 308-380-7564 to learn about our competitive 30-year fixed rates on ag real estate loans.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, it is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you on a Tuesday night, a special edition here tonight of Sports On It. We're talking name, image, likeness, and none better to do that than the head of compliance here in Nebraska, Jamie Vaughn. Jamie, Doug in Norfolk has a question. I understand that Lexi's son in volleyball started her own clothing line. So in her case, she probably would have to file a business tax, correct?
Yeah, I'm not a tax expert, but it's just like any other business. So it's an opportunity for her to profit off of her own name and image, but it's just like anyone else who establishes a similar business. She would have to do all of the same paperwork and file taxes the same way as if any of us started our own clothing line.
Or LLC or whatever,
LLC,
yeah.
So however it was established and incorporated, she would have to follow the same tax guidelines.
I know you're, obviously you talk to a lot of different compliance people and are connected with this. Where does Nebraska stack up as far as women's athletes capitalizing on NIL deals?
I think we do well. I think we do well across the board. We haven't been publishing a lot of numbers, but we have at least one athlete in every sport that's had an NIL opportunity. So to have 24 sports and have someone from every sport have an opportunity has been good. And so that means every women's program has done well. Women's volleyball and women's basketball have done very well. And so I say we stack up great.
Yeah. Well, because there was a graphic during the Final Four that said, I think Nebraska was 6 of the 10 top NIL earners, but we get a lot of questions just about how it compares women's sports to, football or whatever, men's basketball. But like you said, volleyball's got to compare with some of the best earners across the country.
Football, men's and women's basketball, and volleyball are the top 4 in our department in terms of the opportunities that the athletes have had. I think that's pretty typical in football and basketball. I think volleyball in Nebraska is different than anywhere else I've ever been. So.
Yeah. Sandy in our chat room wants to know, can the coaches profit off of NIL?
Well, we have region guidelines about profiting. That's a whole different, that's a whole different issue. This topic that we're discussing today is strictly student athlete.
Yeah.
If a coach has an opportunity to profit, that would have to fit within our region policies.
But can I get an NIL deal?
You might be. You probably would be able to get one. You just got to follow whatever the
Guidelines and rules
guidelines are. Yeah.
Yep.
James in Omaha with a text question. What issues, if any, have come up with NIL deals if students transfer to another school? Has that happened? Has that come up?
We haven't dealt with much of that, honestly. We haven't had any conflicts or issues that have been brought forward to us in the transfer space so far. But again, we're only 10 months in.
Right. True.
And so we're, by the time this came into place last July, we're not even through the first academic year. So who knows what we're going to see this summer, but not yet.
So we've done a lot of interviews with Open Doors, and I know they're a big partner for Nebraska, but for you, I mean, and you got a deal coming in, and how do you know that everything's good to go and legal and all of that? Like, how do you monitor that?
Well, some of it is we're leaving it up to the student athletes, to be honest,
right,
to some extent. But the Open Doors platform that we use, that a lot of schools around the country are using, gives the athlete an opportunity to upload the details of the arrangement and then proof that they're doing the work. So if there's a contract, we see the contract. If they went out and did a speaking engagement, they might upload a photo of them standing up in front of the crowd. If they send out a tweet, they'll
copy the tweet.
Yeah, they'll copy it and upload it. So we're asking them to provide proof so that quid pro quo is met for the NCAA requirement. So the Open Doors platform allows all of our athletes in one location to upload all of that, so we have one place to see it all.
So with the news that came out yesterday saying that you could be retroactive, so you can investigate NIL deals athletes if they've, hey, you got to provide proof of, okay, here's the money, but what did you do for this money? And were phone calls, all of that. So that's legal now, or I guess it was legal before. That's where I was confused about the news that came out yesterday, is that, okay, we can go back and look into if something seems fishy.
Yeah, I mean, the NCAA can do that about anything all the time. If they read a headline or read a story, they can go back or ask a school to go back and look into something, or they can contact you and say, are you aware of this? And so we go through that all the time, where we get inquiries from either the NCAA or the Big Ten might reach out. And sometimes our colleagues at other schools say, hey, we're hearing this, just wanted to let you know. And so we look into stuff all the time, and that's all that is. That's just a reminder that we have an enforcement staff, and if we see or hear something, we might go back and ask you to look into some things.
How many ghost stories have you heard? And I mean that in the fact that these coaches go out and they're recruiting, and they're probably hearing stories from, oh, this athlete says he's getting this deal done there. Do you have to chase that down? How much conversation have you had with coaches on those types of things?
Had some, not a lot. I mean, you hear some of that in the media. We've had coaches that have heard things that are going on around the country, or things about certain prospects and what their worth or their value is out there. And I think that's really what's become troublesome, I think, for most people, is how this has really crept into the recruiting space. It was meant to be an opportunity for current athletes to make money off of their image finally. But we work in a very competitive environment. And so it's become a way to try to get an edge in recruiting.
Pay to play.
Which, and that's the issue. And that's why we got the guidance we got yesterday, because there's a lot of frustration, I think, in the coaching space. And then I think a lot of administrators, too, are concerned about how things are going.
I forgot what I was going to say, but I had a question that I was writing one down that I wouldn't forget. But what's it been like working with Trev Alberts through all of this? Because he seems to be really up and in the knowledge and all of that.
He's great. He spends a lot of time on it too. I know he's a very busy man, but he takes time to check in on us and see how it's going. We've had a lot of conversation and exec staff. I've had a lot of one-on-one with him. And we've been out in the community. I mean, we've met with booster groups and groups of people that have an interest and want to understand this better. And so We've been doing everything we can to be competitive in the space without crossing the line. And part of that is also getting out and talking to our donors who don't understand what this is. What does this mean? And so we've had to be careful with that. I mean, we have some guidelines about how involved we can be, but we're also responsible for their behavior. The rules say we're responsible for them. So it's in our best interest to get out and talk with them and make sure they understand what's happening.
Need to slip a break in. Again, Jamie Vaughn, the head of compliance at Nebraska, is with us. We're talking about name, image, likeness, NIL, which went into effect last July the 1st. So we're almost to the first year through that. It is something that is continuing to kind of evolve and change on a daily basis. So we'll talk more with Jamie coming up. Time to tell you to buckle up, put the phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. More of the show coming up.
A DUI is everything you didn't prepare for. You did not save for it. You did not train for it. You did not go to school for it. You did not raise your family or buy a house or get a job for it. It is not your life goal or a dream come true. You have planned for everything in your life. You did not plan for a DUI. Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Happy Monday, everybody! Yay!
Sure glad the weekend is over.
I know. Nothing's better than a new work week.
Yay! The proceeding was a dramatization, but it could happen now that a Monday night Powerball drawing has been added. Along with the Wednesday and Saturday night drawings, now you can also win Monday Night Millions. Who knows? It may change everyone's view of Monday.
Let's have a 3-hour Monday meeting. Yay!
Powerball from the Nebraska Lottery. Top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Preparation. It's the key to success on game day. And like your favorite Huskers on the field, you need to be ready right from the opening kickoff. Cenex has your pregame routine covered. We've got your salty snacks, your sweet treats, ice-cold beverages to wash them down, and fresh tanks of propane to fire up the grill. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it is safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief, nutrition, or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Whether you compete on the court, at the track, on the field, or in the fields, winning isn't just a goal. It's a mindset, shaped, honed, and defined throughout the season. That's why farmers pushing themselves to be the best plant DeKalb brand corn. Wherever you compete, winning has roots. Perform at your best with DeKalb. Always read and follow grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Huskers, do you want a fulfilling career that's financially rewarding? Explore the many ways you can be a part of the insurance community. Go to iian.org/careers today. Business insurance is a lot to manage. Did you know a trusted choice independent insurance agent can help guide you through it at no extra cost to you? They'll do your insurance. You just do you. Find out more at trustedchoice.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
And the 2-1 pitch. Max swings and hits one well to left. That pushes Merrill back. He's to the track. He's to the wall. It is gone. Max Anderson, a 3-run homer to left field. And Nebraska is back out in front, 6-4.
This Friday, Nebraska baseball kicks off a 3-game road series against the Fighting Illini at 6 p.m. Central. Pre-game coverage on the Huskers radio network begins at 5:30. Tune into your local affiliate or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics. You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, digital and social media, radio advertising, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
Shop Woodhouse Ford first and experience the difference. The all-new 2022 Bronco Sport is built wild for the thrill seeker, the sightseer, and the day tripper. A capable and dependable SUV that's ready to tackle the dirt, dust, and mud. Bronco Sport offers 4 models to match the way you explore the outdoors. Shop, finance, and buy your way. Online at woodhouseford.com or one of our 3 convenient Ford locations in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
Nothing goes better with Husker sports than Fairbury. Fairbury, premium quality hot dogs deliver the home game experience to your family and friends. The highest quality beef, pork, and natural spices give you the best tasting hot dog and your hometown favorite Big Red hot dog. Look for Fairbury hot dogs all year long at your local grocery store. Fairbury, the official hot dog of the Huskers and Nebraska fans everywhere.
At Great Western Bank, they are committed to your community. With all the local decisions and personal attention of a hometown community bank, they also have the convenience of a bigger bank. It's the best of both, so you can bank with your neighbors and your friends. Great Western Bank wishes all area teams a safe and successful season. Great Western Bank, member FDIC.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska's new collaborative biosecurity lab is leading research to safeguard America's food supply against growing threats in partnership with the U.S. Departments of Defense and Homeland Security. The lab brings together world-leading expertise in agriculture and a deep understanding of the complexities of strategic deterrence across the threat spectrum and in multiple domains.
Our Sports Nightly Hotline is brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto family. Shop Woodhouse, first 18 brands, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. 402-413-2400, the number if you want to fire off a text. We do have Jamie Vaughn, the head of compliance, here with us tonight on Sports Nightly. Greg Sharpe along with Jessica Coody.
We're running out of time, and I got so many questions.
I know. I do want to reminisce real quick with Jamie. You work inside the Papik Compliance Office, named after legendary Al Papik, who passed away this past weekend at 95. I did not ever have a chance to meet Mr. Papik. I know that you did.
He was one of the kindest, soft-spoken gentlemen I've ever met. Very pleasant, always smiling. Just a very intelligent, all the way up to the end. Every conversation I had with him, just a very sharp, intelligent guy, and I well loved in this department. Everyone I've ever talked to loved Al. So sad for him and his family that this happened, but I think a life well lived, and he definitely, I've read up on him more recently with the news, and what an accomplished person.
Oh, huge legacy for Nebraska Athletics. He was 95. You are only the third head of compliance at Nebraska.
Since 1986.
Wow.
Which is amazing. There's a pretty high burnout rate in this profession, just so you guys know. And so
imagine.
For Al, Gary Bargan, and myself to be the only 3 since 86 is pretty remarkable.
What made you want to get into compliance?
I wanted to work in college athletics. I actually was a graduate assistant women's basketball coach at Wayne State in Northeast Nebraska, and we were starting a family, and that coaching lifestyle of being gone and traveling, recruiting, scouting, because you could scout in Division II, it just was a lot. And so I tried to find a balance, and I didn't think I would be in compliance this long, but it's been over 20 years now.
Yeah, compliance has been, something that's been a part of athletics for a long time. And while this conversation has been dominated by NIL, you guys still have a ton of other duties that you have to manage. How do you do that? And with all this NIL stuff,
it's been a challenge. Primarily 2 of us have been focusing on it because we do have so much work to do in our office. We manage every scholarship for every athlete. We monitor the recruiting activity of every coach, all of their playing seasons, all of their team travel. And so there's a lot to monitor. And so we knew we were going to have to be focused, and Jonathan Bateman on my staff is something he's very passionate about, and so he and I have been working together closely, and all of the staff. I just shout out to my staff because they're incredible. They work hard, and it's a thankless job, to say the least, but they work their tails off, and everyone's contributed to NIL. We meet weekly, but Jonathan and I are doing the day-to-day, but it's a group effort for sure. And then there's a lot of people across the department. Life Skills has done a lot. Garrett Classy did a lot of work before I got involved. And so there's a lot of people that laid the groundwork. We partnered with the business school and Joe Petzik. So there's a lot of people, Tom Lemke and Life Skills, that have been involved in this. And it's definitely been a group effort over the last year.
I know you wanted to talk about foreign athletes because that's certainly something that is different.
Jazz Shelley's posting because she's back in Australia right now and is able to capitalize on it because she cannot do it here. So I think maybe dive into that about how it's a work visa or a student visa, so she can't really make money off of that, unlike most student athletes.
Yeah, that's been a topic. There's a student athlete at another school that has been very visible in that space, and so it's prompted a lot of questions, and so. Jazz and a lot of our other international students have been in to ask questions, and they, as an international student, they have the ability to do NIL, but not while they're on U.S. soil because they're not citizens and they are, they're like you said, they're here on a student visa, not a work visa. So it's hard for them because some of them would be able to capitalize more if they could do it while they're here. But while they're back home, they can engage in it. They can earn money while they're back home. It's a little more complicated if you have an American business trying to, pay you while you're in Australia, for example, for Jazz. So it's complex, it's complicated, and we're navigating it. And it's something that we've worked on a lot here, and we're going to continue to see what we can do.
What you said, Jonathan Bateman's bit was kind of told her, hey, put out there that you're going to be there and, take advantage of it while you're out there. Because, again, I would imagine these student athletes don't know what they can and cannot do. So they're relying on you guys to kind of help them navigate that.
Yeah, they're relying on us, and they've asked a lot of good questions the last several months as they've had opportunities come their way. And so Jonathan, he worked closely with Jazz, and they figured out a way after we consulted with a lot of people on campus. The last thing we want to do is have Jazz get in trouble with the federal government over NIL. So we've been very careful on how we guide her and others, and it's worked out well.
But so she's posted on her Instagram and Twitter that she's selling T-shirts right now. So if fans want to buy a T-shirt and ship it over here, that you guys are trying to figure out if that's allowed for her to keep making money off of that while she comes back.
Exactly. So that's another point of discussion that we're having right now. There's a big question across the entire country with international students about whether or not they can earn passive income. So for a T-shirt to be sold, Jazz doesn't have to do anything. It's online, it's available. So that's one thing that we're exploring right now is whether or not earning passive income for something that is otherwise permissible is something that she can do.
Especially if it's with a company from over there in Australia or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So earlier in the week, yesterday, the NCAA Board of Directors issued guidance to schools regarding the intersection between recruiting activities and name, image, and likeness. I'm sure you got this.
Yes.
I saw Trev Alberts kind of sent out an all-staff memo to people about make sure you're up on this. This doesn't really look like it's anything new. It's just kind of saying, remember, these are the rules, folks. Abide by them. Is that right?
Absolutely. There's nothing new in this document. This could have been published last summer,
and probably was, but
not to this extent. They provided a little bit of guidance, and I think the explosion of NIL and the recruiting aspect of what we do is what led to this. We've talked off air that this was about creating opportunities for student athletes who are here to monetize, and what it turned into is a bidding war in recruiting. And so this guidance is just really telling us, hey, remember, your donors, your boosters can't actively recruit on behalf of the university, and they cannot have recruiting conversations with recruits, and they cannot promise them something to get them to come here. Those aren't new rules. I just think that people didn't really understand contextually how to put NIL in the day-to-day of what we do. And this kind of, I think, over time, everyone sorted through that. Now we've got this guidance, which is really just reminders about what the rules have always said.
So is it one of those things where as soon as they sign their letter of intent or they have to be enrolled, when can those collectives and those businesses start working with these student
Well, that's
athletes?
the interesting thing is, just like the law, we have interpretations of rules. And we have interpretations that have been out there for decades that are still active. So we have to monitor that. And there's an interpretation from more than 20 years ago that says that a booster can employ a prospect.
Wow.
That's been on the books for a long time. And so it's not about whether or not they can employ them. So this doesn't mean that the collectives cannot be involved, but they cannot actively recruit. So you cannot actively go out on behalf of a coach and say, hey, you need to come to Nebraska. But what they could say is, we know you're coming here. You've already committed. We're working in this space. We see the value, and we see what you might be able to earn here, and we may want to partner with you when you come.
Wow.
And boosters have been able to employ athletes, prospective athletes, for a long time. But it's a very fine line. And how do you defend that you didn't have a recruiting conversation, or that you didn't, on behalf of a coaching staff member, prompt them to come here? And so it's I guess what I'd call risky behavior, but there's a way to navigate it. And what we're trying to do at Nebraska, and what we try to do in every aspect of the compliance space, is not put our coaches or other people in the department at a disadvantage. We don't want to be at a disadvantage, but we want to do things the right way. Integrity is in the fabric of what we do at Nebraska. So, but you can get your toes up to the line and still have integrity. So.
Need to slip our final break of the night in, back with one more segment with Jamie. We're in our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. One more segment here in Hour 1 coming up next.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier.
At Groundworks, we take great pride in helping our Nebraska neighbors keep their homes healthy. From repairing foundations to waterproofing basements to fixing crawl spaces or lifting concrete driveways. We'd like to think our customers choose us because of our attention to detail or the fact that we're the nation's leading foundation solutions provider. What gives our customers the most comfort is we're right here in Nebraska. Visit groundworks.com for a free estimate. Groundworks, foundation solutions crafted with pride. The official foundation company of the Huskers.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it is safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief, nutrition, or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Don't let the cold winter worry you. As Nebraska's leading supplier of propane, you can count on Sapp Brothers to keep your family warm this winter. You're like family, and your safety is the #1 priority of Sapp Brothers. When it comes to your propane needs, Sapp Brothers has you covered. Visit www.sappbros.net/petroleum to find your local Sapp Brothers propane expert. Celebrating 50 years of fueling America's heartland and welcoming guests, Sapp Brothers is proud to be an official partner of Husker Athletics.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card. Free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
Fuel your curiosities and inspire your lifeblood with the first ever Mazda CX-50. Available now at both Woodhouse Mazda locations. The remarkably intuitive standard all-wheel drive Mazda CX-50 is responsive, making the driver's connection to the road natural across a wide variety of driving scenarios. An interior where form and function meet, making the cabin luxurious and durable. See the first ever CX-50 online at WoodhouseMazda.com or in the showroom in Bellevue or at Woodhouse Place off 144th and Giles Road.
Our Sports Only Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse First 18 brand, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance. Buy online at woodhouse.com. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you here on a Tuesday night. We have spent this hour talking with Jamie Vaughn, the head of compliance here at Nebraska, about NIL. Question from John in Omaha for you, Jamie. What could the repercussions be if the NCAA finds out that a school is in violation of NAIA rules? Are there any set of standards that we're all following?
I honestly, this is going to seem like a cop-out, but it's going to be case-specific. So it would depend on what the circumstances are. But just as an example, if they found that a booster was involved in recruiting, it would be the same thing that it would be any other non-NIL booster recruiting scenario.
Right. Which we've dealt with for years.
Yeah. What happened? How did it happen? Who was involved? And then you just get into the details and figure it out. So there's a wide range of potential penalties in that area.
Good.
Yeah.
This has been fun. I've
Yes.
learned a lot in this hour. And you're going to have a new batch of incoming students in over the summer, or is the plan to then sit all the newbies down and go, all right, here's the deal? How do you view that going forward?
We already have plans for May 22nd for the new football guys.
Okay.
We've already
Got a date.
We've already talked about getting them onboarded and getting them their open doors accounts set up and walking them through that process. And then there's the life skills program has a multi-step education that they do with all incoming students. So they'll fall into that, but there'll be an initial onboarding meeting that we've already set up.
Have you had colleagues reach out and say, hey, trying to copy what you're doing a little bit, trying to find out what Nebraska's doing?
There's a lot of information sharing that happens all the time in our business, and so people kind of want to know what we're doing. We do the same. If we see something that we think makes sense or would be helpful, we'll call a colleague and talk to them about it. So but we have gotten calls.
Crypto King in our chat room. Jamie, thank you for all the great information about NAL. Thank you.
No problem.
Fantastic.
It's been fun.
Is it going to slow down now a little bit, or?
It's not going to slow down. No, nothing's going to slow down. Absolutely not.
Good stuff. Thank you so much. Appreciate
You're
spending
welcome.
the hour.
No,
we'll
thank
get
you
you out of here.
guys.
Tell me you still go vote. My place didn't have little stickers.
I mailed
stickers.
mine in.
You did?
I'll be honest.
I went and they didn't have little stickers.
Yeah, I mailed
was
mine
disappointed
in.
today.
So,
Thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you
summer.
guys.
Jamie.
You too. Take
Jamie
care.
Vaughn from Nebraska Compliance with us here. Hour one in the books. We got another hour to go, including a guest to talk about the new movie, Day by Day. Deals with Husker football in the 90s. We'll talk about that and more next.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Shop Woodhouse Buick GMC first for all your vehicle needs. With 2 ways to shop, we make car buying easy. Purchase your new or certified pre-owned vehicle all from the comfort of your own home with available pickup and delivery options. Plus, chat with a sales team member, reserve your vehicle, and complete a credit application online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Or visit our climate-controlled showroom for comfortable shopping year-round. Streamlining your car buying experience. This is Woodhouse Buick GMC. We are professional grade.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row Townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska researchers are designing the next generation of roadside steel barriers through an industry partnership with Trafix Devices. This partnership has produced the Delta Crash Cushion, a simplistic, effective way to keep drivers safe on highways. This barrier is vital for roadside safety and significantly improves the chances motorists will be able to walk away from roadside collisions.
Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go is mealtime made easy. Just order delicious meals online for convenient curbside pickup or have it delivered. Want breakfast? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Need lunch? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Doing dinner? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Get pancakes, burgers, fried chicken, lasagna, high-chai Asian dishes, sushi, pizza, and more. If you're craving it, Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go has it with curbside pickup or delivery. Order today at Hy-Vee.com/mealtime.
Good evening. I'm Greg Sharpe, and here is tonight's sports ticker. The Husker softball team left today to head to East Lansing, Michigan to get ready for the Big Ten tournament, which starts tomorrow. The Huskers actually have a bye. They're the number 2 seed. They'll face the winner of Indiana-Penn State Thursday morning. First pitch slated to be at 10 a.m. We'll have the broadcast for you here on the Huskers radio network. Big Ten baseball scores today, non-conference games. Top of the 7th, Xavier leads Michigan 5-2. Bottom of the 6th, Butler on top of Purdue 6-5. Campbell in the bottom of the 6th leading at Ohio State 8-1. 16th ranked Notre Dame leads Michigan State 8-3. 7th ranked Louisville a 3-2 lead on Indiana in the top of the 6th. Georgetown shutting out Penn State 9-0 in the bottom of the 6th, and they're just getting underway in Milwaukee with Milwaukee and Northwestern. Checking some Major League Baseball scores from this afternoon, a doubleheader at Comerica Park in Detroit. It was the Tigers winning game 1 of that doubleheader 6-0. The Athletics win the nightcap 4-1. Games in progress. The Dodgers 7, the Pirates nothing. Middle of the 4th. Also the middle of the 4th inning. The Brewers and Reds knotted at 1. No score. Mets Nationals in the 4th inning. Blue Jays have jumped ahead of the Yankees 3-0. Bottom of the 2nd. Middle of the 2nd. No score. Boston and Atlanta. Houston and the Twins, no score in the 2nd. Also in the 2nd inning, the Cardinals and Orioles are scoreless. It was announced today that when Tampa Bay quarterback Tom Brady retires, he's going to broadcast for Fox as their lead NFL analyst. The deal reported to be worth $375 million over 10 years. NBA playoffs continue tonight. Some Game 5s. In the second quarter, it's Philadelphia trailing the Miami Heat 33-29. Again, that series knotted at 2 games apiece. Later tonight, Game 5, Suns and Mavericks also squared at 2. On the ice tonight, they're in the first intermission. The Hurricanes lead the Bruins 2-0. All the action in the NHL tonight are Game 5s with all 4 series tied at 2 games apiece. Also, later tonight in the NHL, it'll be the Blues in Minnesota to take on the Wild. The Kings and Oilers will skate in Edmonton. And late first period, the Lightning lead the Maple Leafs 2-0. That's the ticker. I'm Greg Sharpe.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
And Andrews swings, and it's a high fly ball. Left center and deep, and it is gone! The 19th home run of the year for Billy Andrews, and this game is tied at 3.
And the 2-1 pitch. Max swings and hits one well to left. That pushes Merrill back. He's to the track. He's to the wall. It is gone. Max Anderson, a 3-run homer to left field. And Nebraska is back out in front, 6-4.
2-ball pitch, and Gray swings and lifts it. Deep left field, all the way back, Minnick, and it is gone! A towering home run over the scoreboard in left, and the Huskers take the lead.
1-1 to Griffin Everett. Sem's pitch.
Shot down the first base line, and that is a fair ball. Scoring is E-Fry. Rounding third is Chick. He's going to score. Headed to third and being held at third is Anglam. It's a 2-run double from Griffin Everett, and the Huskers increase their lead to 11-5. Felder swings and lines it back up the middle. Base hit to center. Andrews scores. Huskers win. Huskers win. Huskers win. Huskers win 5-4.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
And we're back, hour number 2, Sports Nightly here on a Tuesday night. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you. How about that? That was a really fun, educational hour. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Again, thanks to Jamie Vaughn for spending some after-hours time with us. I learned a lot.
I did too. That was fun. He's great to chat with. There's been a couple times I've stood next to him on the sidelines during a football game, and he's such a good guy and fun to talk to. And if you missed any of the conversation at all, I'm trying to get it posted right now on our podcast platform, so you'll be able to go back and listen to it at any time.
Well, folks, I hope you learned some things. I mean, it's like he said, we've kind of made it more complicated than it really is. It's just these guys are getting jobs. Guys and gals are getting jobs, and they can now do that as a student athlete and mention that they are a student athlete. But then you have to do the grown-up things. You have to file taxes, and you have to pay taxes on what you get paid, and you have to follow through with whatever you've agreed to do. You got to go make that appearance or go sign those autographs.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the simplest form, we try to complicate it, but it's been allowed that they could have jobs. Now it's just kind of different jobs.
Yes.
And it took so long because social media has blown up, and now all these student athletes, that's a big part of it, to make money off of their social media platforms like every other person can do. So that's another part of it, is just, figuring out how to document it differently as opposed to just going to get a part-time job wherever that might be. But yeah, the bottom line, it's kind of always been there. It's just been absolutely wild, all the different things that have come of it. But fascinating. I learned a lot.
I think our next step might be to get somebody from Open Doors to come and just talk about their relationship with Nebraska and how they set up each athlete with their own template. I think that'd be a fascinating conversation to follow as well.
Which we did have Bree Cassidy on recently. She's kind of new in her role. We talked a lot of softball, and she was talking a lot about the marketplace. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to dive into also the specific numbers on our volleyball athletes. There's no doubt about it that our volleyball and women's basketball players probably make more than just one or two, because you look maybe Paige Beckers or Caitlin Clark at Iowa. Yeah, those two have massive deals. But if you want to talk about a roster of players that are getting NIL deals and opportunities, there can't be a lot of places that compare to Nebraska, especially with two women's programs, like what he was talking about.
And the dynamics of it all are still being felt. I think it was not a great year on the court for Lexi Sun, who profited the most probably of any athlete at Nebraska last year. That was a question in the chat room. Ask who did it. I would guess it was Lexi. I think she probably got more than Adrian did this past year, but I think it affected her play on the court, and I think it affected some of the relationships in the locker room. So these coaches are having to kind of try to juggle all that as they make their way through this.
Yeah, I think at the end you saw how, supportive she was and happy. She was genuinely happy for her team, but I think probably would be my guess, I don't know, is that was the big reason why she came back, was to be able to capitalize off of NIL, because otherwise she wouldn't have had that experience. So it's maybe more so where she was kind of looking at it for her future, her business, what's next for her brand, as opposed to maybe doing it because she wanted to play another year of volleyball.
Right. And it did. She did profit off of it, but did it cost her? I don't know. Only she could tell us how much did it distract her from maybe training as much as she needed to. And the other thing, that program is so good, they brought in players that could compete with her and beat her out.
Absolutely.
And that's what happened.
Yeah. They're loaded in talent and young talent. They're coming in. There's every year, Coach Cook's got the #1 recruiting class. So, yeah, if you don't, that's another thing, too. We were talking about, okay, if it's going to be a problem in the locker room, I'm like, okay, go make some plays, get yourself some playing time, and then you can get those NIL deals. So take care of your business. I think that's bottom line is, if I'm a business owner, if I'm investing in somebody, I'm wanting it to be someone that's producing on their playing surface, on their court, on their field, wherever it might be. And so, for me, I think for these athletes that might be growing, getting all these NIL deals, I think they're going to see, if I don't take care of my business, this person's going to come in right behind me and take my spot, because the talent's not stopping, especially for that program. It's still coming in.
The idea, the concept of it, love it. And I think everybody in college athletes did. But what happens, and Jamie was very diplomatic when we were kind of pressing him on this about, these coaches are really competitive, and so they're looking for a competitive advantage. So when the concept of it is let athlete A come to campus and then make a name for themselves and go make a little bit of money because people like them or like their way they play. Now it's kind of turned into, let's try to buy a point guard, or let's try to go buy a quarterback or get him in there. And that's the gray area. And I think that's why the NCAA shot that arrow out yesterday, going, okay, hold on now. You can't still just go give somebody money to come play at your school.
Yeah, and you have to document it, and you have to show proof. So if something fishy's going on, like whatever, the quarterback wherever is getting a $13 million deal, all right, what are you doing for that $13 million? And also, let me see some documentations of phone calls that happen, text messages, because you can trace all that. And if there's something that they think is going wrong, they can go back and look at that. And that was something that was being done before. And I think, again, maybe one of those things where we lost sight of, it's different than everything else. No, at the bottom line of it, I just think now they're trying to, because so many people are getting involved now they're trying to say, okay, we've got to get a handle on this. So now there's got to be some repercussions. We've got to have somebody investigating to make sure this is all being done. How the rules have been in place for years.
Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. Again, thanks to Jamie Vaughn for spending some time with us. He's certainly knee-deep into this every day. He lives in that world. I would not want to live in that world. Honestly,
no.
That's not a job that I would enjoy.
No, and I wouldn't like to all that constant, changing and having to stay up and, follow all the rules, because there's so many different little rules that you could break, whatever. But then I also wouldn't want people mad at me all the time.
Yeah, because they are. Because whether you're telling an athlete, no, you can't do that, or you're telling a coach, no, we can't do that, coaches get mad at you, the athletes
because the coaches are like, well, this school's doing it.
Exactly.
Why can't we do what this school's doing? And, and also, too, if you've got new coaches coming in that are coming from a different program and then it's being done differently, well, I didn't have to do that there, so... that's what I wouldn't want people. I don't handle controversy well, or people being mad at me. So I would not handle that well at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't want a job where every meeting kind of ends with somebody being mad, walking out the door on that thing. Tom Brady is not mad. He's already got his future carved out. How about that bombshell that came out today? He's already got a deal in place with Fox whenever he retires, which might be one more year.
I would love to know how those conversations went down. But yeah, good for Fox, and especially with the uncertainty of Troy Aikman and all of that. And Tom Brady, that'll be fascinating to listen to.
I think he'll be pretty good.
I do too. I really do. I think he will be. And I think Tony Romo's great. He's great. But I think we've seen Tom Brady has a little bit of a personality.
He does.
So I think he could be pretty funny, entertaining too, in addition to obviously being a brilliant mind. And he's played so long and played against so many people. He's going to have a lot of knowledge about a lot of different players too, and a lot of different teams.
Yeah, that was a huge bombshell that came out earlier. There were reports about it, and everybody's like, that probably isn't what's happening. And then there was confirmation this afternoon that he does have a deal with Fox whenever he stops playing. The best guess is he's got 1 year left for the Buccaneers. He wants to try one more time to go get a ring and then hang it up. I don't know why you'd keep playing if I'm him. He's won enough. If I'm him, I'm just like, get me up to the booth. Let's go.
Because he's wired so differently. He's so competitive. And, he just he should have quit last year or when was it 2 years ago he won the Super Bowl? Yeah, he should have quit after that one. But,
shut the door and walk out.
I think he's probably left feeling unfulfilled. And so, but probably too, last year he went into it thinking, I'm going to win a Super Bowl and then I'll be able to hang it up. But I think if you maybe approach it mentally a little bit differently. Okay, no matter what, I'm going to be satisfied with how this season ends.
I don't know if you've been following the story, Jessica, of former Michigan State basketball player Adrian Payne. This is just tragic. He was shot and killed over the weekend in Orlando. He was trying to help a woman engage in a domestic dispute. So he tried to insert himself into a fight between a guy and a gal, and he gets shot. This is a guy who has a huge heart. People might remember him that he was the one who befriended a young girl up in East Lansing who was having a lot of medical problems in her own right when he was a senior at Michigan State. And it was just a really heart-wrenching, really heart-tugging story that he was involved with there. And then he dies this way. Just awful, awful story.
So terrible. Yeah, I mean, I remember that. That story captivated everybody. And that was my first, I remember thinking, wow, Big Ten Network is really, really great at telling these types of stories. And so that feature stuck with me because I love doing those types of stories. And so that really kind of registered with me. And then you fell in love with him because of that, because of everything that he did and how special that relationship was. And just tragic to go out like that. And for them trying to intervene, and it's just awful. Awful.
Bad story there earlier today. All right, coming up here in a few minutes, there is a movie. These guys have been working on this movie called Day by Day. It's going to document Husker football from 1993 to 1997. Those are the 3 titles in 4 years, 4 terrific seasons of football. The movie is done. It's ready. They're going to show it at the Rococo Theater over the weekend. We're going to have the producer, Justin LaPera, come on and talk about this adventure. These kind of movies take a lot of time and effort. You got to do research. You got to do a ton of interviews, and they have. They have been in Lincoln numerous times doing sit-down interviews with former players, coaches, a part of that team as well. And this is going to be exciting. And a lot of people are excited to see this thing. It's been talked about for a couple years, and it's ready to be viewed by the public coming up this weekend. So Justin LaPera is going to join us coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Our Sports Nightly hotline open and available to you at all times, 402-413-2400. It is brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse first, 18 brands, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop, finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. We're back to talk about the movie Day by Day. That's coming up next.
Welcome to Ag Answers, where we answer common questions related to farming and ranching. Today's topic, animal agriculture. There's been a lot of talk suggesting that giving up meat is good for the environment. However, livestock emissions only account for less than 4% of greenhouse gas emissions, according to the Environmental Protection Agency. Also, by reducing meat in your diet, you're missing out on all sorts of beneficial nutrients like protein, iron, and zinc. This message is brought to you by Nebraska's corn and soybean farmers.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. During the summer of 2021, 3 UNL students helped safeguard cattle across the state. Neely Anderson, Tatiana Jones, and Ashton Commons developed secure beef supply plans that prevent the spread of disease outbreak. The plans protect nearly 850,000 cattle across our state and provide greater economic security for this vital industry.
1-1 to Griffin Everett. Sem's pitch. Shot down the first base line, and that is a fair ball. Scoring is E-Fry. Rounding third is Chick. He's going to score. Headed to third and being held at third is Anglem. It's a 2-run double from Griffin Everett.
This Saturday, Huskers baseball squares off with Illinois at 3 p.m. Central. Pre-game coverage on the Huskers radio network begins at 2:30. Tune into your local affiliate or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
The 2022 Nissan Rogue Sport is street savvy, road trip ready, and always fun to drive. Equipped with standard features like rear automatic braking, blind spot warning, and high beam assist, so you can surround yourself with confidence on the road. Plus, explore the 3 Rogue Sport trims to find the one that's right for you and your lifestyle. Choose your experience and shop, finance, and purchase online at Woodhouse.com or in store at Woodhouse Nissan in Bellevue or at Woodhouse Place.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
4 in the 8th, the 3-2. Felder swings and lines it back up the middle. Base hit to center. Andrews scores. Huskers win. Huskers win. Huskers win. Huskers win 5-4. Nebraska softball opens its 2022 Big Ten tournament against either Penn State or Indiana Thursday morning. Hear all the action with pregame at 9:50, first pitch at 10 on selected Huskers radio network affiliates, Huskers.com, and the official Nebraska Athletics app.
A tradition of winning doesn't happen overnight. Like any team, you gotta be tough, play smart, and work hard. No one understands this more than Ford Motor Company. They built the best team in the game with Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks 45 years straight. The iconic Ford Bronco and the most powerful Ford Explorer ever. Shop online at buyfordnow.com or visit your local Ford dealer to buy or custom build the perfect truck or SUV for you. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
The Huskers provide the best on the field, and so does Kubota. The new Kubota L60 Limited Edition Series provides the best package for affordability, quality, and comfort, like the deluxe Grand L factory-installed cab or spacious open operator station. Maximize performance with Kubota's best-in-class HST Plus transmission and many other features of the L60 LE Series. Experience the Kubota difference. Visit nebraska-kubota-dealers.com or see Rush Kubota in West Point or Roars Machinery in Beatrice.
There's nothing better than the smoky aroma of grilled beef at the ballpark. This is Anne Marie with the Nebraska Beef Council reminding you to pick up a package of steaks or burgers for your next tailgate party. Whether you're setting up in the parking lot or cheering from home, nutritious beef is a home run choice when cheering on the Huskers. Visit beefitswhatsfordinner.com for delicious beef recipes, grilling tips, and tailgate inspirations. Beef, it's what's for dinner in Nebraska.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, it is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you here on a Tuesday night of Sports Nightly here on the Huskers Radio Network. People have been talking about day by day for some time now. This is a big project that has been, a couple of years of undertaking, and it is ready to be shown on the big screen here in Lincoln coming up this weekend. And we are delighted to be joined tonight by Justin LaPera, who is the main producer for this movie about Husker football from 93 to 97. Justin joins us now. Justin, how are you tonight? I bet you're excited and ready for this week to get I bet you've been excited for this week to get here for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're definitely really excited. I think everybody that's been involved is really stoked to finally see this on the big screen.
Do you have your outfit all planned out for the premiere?
Still working on those details. Always fine-tuning little things here and there with the movie. So until the very last second, we usually don't stop until right before. So that'll be the last thing I figure out.
Where did the concept come from? Why did you want to put this kind of movie together? So
I actually grew up in Colorado, so I grew up a Colorado Buffs fan during the 90s.
We're sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So as a Buff fan back then, you knew a lot about Nebraska because Colorado was actually pretty good back then, and it was always Nebraska that was always knocking them out. So you knew a lot about the program. You knew a lot about the guys that were going over to Nebraska. And so growing up, I knew the stories behind those teams and what they accomplished. And over the years, started learning more. And my good friend Josh Davis played for Nebraska, and my offense coordinator coach in high school was Tough Tony Davis. So also knew a lot about Nebraska through that, and just thought it'd be a great story to capture. I was surprised it hadn't been captured yet, and thought it was the ultimate sports story, from what Tom Osborne accomplished to all the stuff that the team had to go through to win those national championships.
Yeah, we had Tony. Tony just got put in the Sugar Bowl Hall of Fame. We had him on here recently, and we had to edit some of that interview. Tony got a little out of line, as you probably can imagine. Talk about this kind of the concept of the movie. How does it lay out? Who did you talk to? Who's in it? Just give us some of the background on that.
Yeah, so it's a two-part movie, and the reason it's two-part, originally we were trying to do just one film, but the story was too big, and there was really two very different movies that needed to be told. So we went ahead and we did 50-plus interviews from everybody from Bobby Bowden to Peyton Manning to Tom Osborne to most of the players on those teams, Amon Green, Jared Tomich, Jason Peter, and how we got a lot of these guys in. We did sit-down interviews, but we also did roundtable interviews, and it's really more of them just at a roundtable kind of sharing stories, and that's where a lot of the really crazy stories that you really have never heard before come out, is when they're starting to tell you things that were kind of kept secret in the locker room.
Which probably now that so much time's passed, it's like, okay, we can talk about it now.
Right. Yeah, it definitely, there was a couple times where I'd be interviewing one and I'd hear a story, and then I'd tell another person before we even got into it, yeah, I heard this story, and they're like, wait a minute, they told you that? And so there was a lot of that going on too. But yeah, a lot of them were like, this is our legacy. We should be really proud of it. And I think sharing some of the struggles that they had to go through to show what it takes to win a national championship and the way they did it and how they did it was truly remarkable. And I think they realized that, in order to tell that story, you have to tell everything that went on.
In the modern world of college football, Justin, Alabama's the kingpin. That Husker era, they were the Alabama of that era, weren't they?
They were, and I still think on paper that 95 team is the most dominant team in college football history. And, you think back to 93, going all the way through 97, they could have won a national championship in 96, and they could have won and should have won one in that 93 season, which would ultimately, if they would have had a run like that, nothing never has been accomplished like that. So I would still put them right up there with Alabama. And I would say even if you take Tom Osborne's legacy, you're going all the way back to 1973 and only losing at most 3 games in a season. So the story really, we do tell that part of the story as well, of Tom's struggles, even having these winning programs, but the demand that was on him to win that national championship.
Everyone has, their favorite player, and obviously everyone loves Tom Osborne. But, when you watch a documentary, like I go back to The Last Dance or some of these sports documentaries, and you see interviews and you see a different side, you kind of walk away liking people a little bit differently, or someone stands out to you. Who, I guess, became your favorite character after doing all these interviews that might not have maybe been what you would expect to be your favorite?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's a great question. I think couple guys really standed out in their interviews that were really fun. Dwayne Harris, Troy Dumas, those guys, Jared Tomich are some characters that, you don't see a lot of interviews with them, but the way they tell the story and what they dive into, from Abdul Muhammad and Corey Dixon doing an interview together. I mean, they were all really good. I think, those guys stand out quite a bit. Tommy Frazier tells a heck of a story. And we really dive into the full Tommy Frazier story. I feel like in some ways you've only heard one side, or you've only seen little pieces that build to maybe a different story. And so it was great to talk to him, and also to Drew Barringer, who's Brooke Barringer's sister as well. So we got some great insight from that family dynamic as well.
Most of the former players, Justin, and we're speaking with Justin LaPera, who's the producer of Day by Day, which is going to air this weekend here in Lincoln. Most of the players talk in reverence of Coach Osborne. Did that come across when you did the sit-downs?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think even in the interviews, they still don't want to let him down. And I think that's how Josh Davis, was able to get a lot of them to maybe join in on the interviews, was, hey, this is for Coach Tom Osborne. And I think, once again, didn't want to let him down. But yeah, definitely, they really played for him, and that really shows in that 96-97 season. But that's a big theme in this whole series of these 2 movies is, what Coach Osborne's going through, and in the end, this team rallying around him, spearheading this journey that they're all going on.
I do a lot of video editing, not to the tune of, 2 movies, 2 documentaries like what you're about to put out. But I know, like, when you do an interview and it's fantastic, and then there's a part where it kills you to leave it out, but you just don't have time for it. So you mentioned all those great stories that you didn't hear, that we're going to get to hear, that maybe we didn't know about going through it. Was there a story that you had to leave on the cutting room floor?
Yeah, definitely. There's some locker room stories specifically that I hated leaving on the cutting room floors. Definitely. Some of them I don't think Coach Osborne probably would appreciate having them filmed. But yeah, that was tough, because there's when you're doing, you only have so much time, even in these 2 movies, to develop these characters and to really kind of try to provide their full perspective. And so some of these stories you really need to do to build that. And so it's really tough pulling some of those. But a story I could tell you that was pretty interesting was with Tommy Frazier, that we're not going to be able to tell this side of the story. But, there was a rule in the locker room, and there's a section of the locker room where the defensive ends and the defensive linemen basically all had their lockers. And no one was allowed to enter that section of the locker room unless you were a defensive lineman or the linebackers. And essentially, I guess every day after practice, Tommy Frazier would walk through there as early as a freshman and get pounded on every single day after practice. And every single day he'd keep coming through that locker room, getting pounded by Dwayne Harris and the guys.
Why did he do that?
I think when you hear more about Tommy Frazier's story, I think it was him saying, you guys may have your rules, but I've got my own set ways of doing things. And as the leader, he showed up, and you'll hear a lot about him not being very well liked, but it was because he really came in and said, I'm going to be the starter. I'm going to be the star, and everybody's going to fall in line to what I want to do. And obviously upperclassmen and other teammates aren't going to take kindly to that. So that's a big theme but a part of that is also probably why they had the success they had with Tommy Frazier's being that kind of a leader. But yeah, I think that was a big part of it. He was not too concerned about being liked, it sounded like.
Scott Frost is the current head coach, and Trev Alberts is the current AD. Do they both make appearances in it?
Yes, they both do. And so Scott's interview was great, and Trev Alberts as well. Trev is a lot in this first movie because it's really a focus on that first national championship and getting to that point. And then Scott Frost, you're going to see a lot more in the second movie and his journey. And it's pretty incredible to hear from Scott just what he went through. It was very tough on him coming to Nebraska after being at Stanford. And that he attributes to a lot of that molding the type of person, the toughness he has today. Not only that, but then you go to movie one with Coach Osborne and some of his struggles and people wanting him to win those national championships right away and having these demands on him. And you see a parallel connection there with Coach Osborne or with Coach Frost and what he's trying to do now with the program. And it was the program and the fans sticking with Tom Osborne through that tough period. And I think it's so quick to just push your coach away if they're not winning right away. Whereas Tom really needed to develop that team and that culture. And it took him 20 years to get the culture that he wanted. And that culture is what ultimately is the reason why they had that success.
That's fascinating. But was Brendan Stye, he was terrible, I'm sure, in his appearance. We work with him, obviously.
Right. So Brendan's a character. So we also, he's so big and dominant that we also got him on camera walking towards the camera doing parts of his interview. In fact, part of the trailer that we have that's out, as well as even in the opening, he's kind of that final figure you see kind of coming at you, telling you about what kind of story you're going to have or story you're going to experience. And so, yeah, he's quite the character for sure, and has a lot of passion still behind that team and that time.
He's nicknamed Tiny, by the way, Justin.
Yeah.
So just call him that the next time you see him. What? Okay.
I was about to say, that was brave of you to put a camera in front of him doing the tunnel walk. I mean, you would never know if he's going to just come right after you.
Yeah. Justin,
he always took out the cameraman for sure a couple times on that.
Lay out what this week's like. When is it going to be shown? When can people see it? And then we're getting a lot of questions from people in our chat room tonight about if they don't live in Lincoln, when can they go see these?
Yeah, great question. So first, go to daybydaymovie.com. That gets you all the details on the screenings that are going to be in Lincoln. Also, you can get tickets there. But Thursday night's the grand premiere. So a lot of the former players, Coach Osborne, a lot of people will be there on Thursday night. Then on Friday, we'll have another showing. And then on Thursday, and all three of those showings are going to be at the Rococo Theater in Lincoln. And we wanted to make it a very exclusive type of event, strictly for Nebraska fans, so that people could view it in a little bit of a different way than just going to a movie theater or going, and just streaming it online. We wanted to allow people to come in as a community and really kind of have more of a social event as well, where you're around fellow Husker fans, mingling, and you get to watch this movie that kind of relives the glory days of what Nebraska football was like and where it can still be today. And also for families to bring their kids that, don't know much about maybe the history of Nebraska football. And so showing them why we have that passion for Nebraska and why the red means so much because of the stories like this one.
But for those, because Nebraska fans are across the country, so will there be an opportunity at some point for fans that can't come to Lincoln to see it somewhere?
Right. So yeah, we will be showing it. We're mapping that all out. So we definitely want to get it all throughout the country. As far as even Alaska, we've gotten requests. So we're going to have some different options where even Nebraska fans could even license the film to show it somewhere in an area to have a big screening if they want, but we'll also be providing screenings throughout the country. But we do want people to go on to daybydaymovie.com and let us know where you're located and where you want to see this, and then we'll try to make it happen for sure.
Last thing I got, what do you hope people feel when they walk out of that movie theater this weekend?
I hope everybody feels it's an inspiring story. I hope everybody feels really inspired about what happened at Nebraska, what these players did for their coach and what their coach did for them, and amongst all the adversity. And there's a lot of lessons in there from what we're dealing with in sports today to what it took back then to get to that level. And that's conflicting with a lot of things that are going on now. So I hope people feel inspired and moved by it.
Well, Justin, we appreciate the time. Congratulations. I can't wait to see this. I know Husker Nation is just foaming at the mouth to get a look at your work. And some of the players that I've talked to that you talked to raved about you as a person. So thank you so much for giving us some of your time here tonight.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
There he is, Justin.
See you guys this weekend.
Sounds good. Justin LePere, again, the main producer of Day by Day, going to be debuting at the Rococo Theater this weekend. And go to their website and look up the information about that. He joined us on our Sports Auto Hotline, which is brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto family. Shop Woodhouse first, 18 brands, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop, finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. More of the show coming up.
When you've escaped the screens and the sun bathes everything in a golden glow, and your friend hands you a cold organic beer that tastes as perfect as nature itself, that's pure gold. Michelob Ultra Pure Gold, the first national USDA certified organic beer. Organic by nature. Enjoy responsibly. 2020 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Pure Gold, St. Louis, Missouri.
At Nebraska, our people will always be our greatest asset. Day by day, donors give our teams the best opportunity to compete and win through their generous donations. Our vision for the future is ambitious and requires help from those who want to see Husker athletics excel at the highest level. Go big and join thousands of other Huskers Athletic Fund members with your gift today at huskers.com/donate.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
The Nebraska FFA is growing leaders
and building communities.
Together, we are strengthening agriculture.
The Nebraska FFA Foundation believes in our future leaders and the communities they serve. We believe in the future of agriculture.
Join us in the I Believe in the Future of Ag campaign. Learn more at neFFAfoundation.org. Brought to you by Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be, member FDIC. And Farmers Cooperatives, standing with those who grow.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to Ag Answers. Today we're talking about renewable biofuels like corn ethanol and soy biodiesel. Electric vehicles continue to make headlines as we look for ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. But did you know by using ethanol, you can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 46% compared to traditional gasoline and by up to 86% when you use biodiesel compared to petroleum diesel? Locally produced biofuels are the here and now solution to combating climate change. They are good for our air, good for our wallets, and good for Nebraska. This message is brought to you by Nebraska's corn and soybean farmers.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
If I won one of the 8 new trucks the Nebraska Lottery is giving away in Trucks and Bucks 2022, I'd be off-roading all the time through muddy riverbeds, across dusty prairies. I'd treat that truck like a tank. I'd be merciless.
Can I ride along?
Only if you wear shoe covers to protect the carpeting, promise not to eat or drink anything inside the cab, and polish the dashboard when you leave.
Trucks and Bucks is back, and you could win one of 8 new trucks. Top prize odds 1 in 336,000.
And the 2-1 pitch. Max swings and hits one well to left. That pushes Merrill back. He's to the track. He's to the wall. It is gone. Max Anderson, a 3-run homer to left field. And Nebraska is back out in front, 6-4.
This Friday, Nebraska baseball kicks off a 3-game road series against the Fighting Illini at 6 p.m. Central. Pre-game coverage on the Huskers radio network begins at 5:30. Tune into your local affiliate or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer opens like every other seltzer, pours like every other seltzer, but it's not like every other seltzer. USDA certified organic, no added sugar, and low cal, so you've never seen another seltzer quite like it. And with new refreshing flavors like black cherry and watermelon strawberry, you've never tasted one like it either. Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, as real as it tastes. Enjoy responsibly, not a low-calorie food. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, IRC Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
They say if you listen hard enough, you can hear the corn grow. It's true. When you're out in the field, you understand its challenges and what it needs to thrive. Channel Seedsmen bring insights from the field to our team of Bayer plant breeders. Their knowledge inspires our product development. From your best ground to your most challenging conditions, our products are designed to perform in your fields. Visit channellistens.com to see our latest innovations. Always read and follow IRM where applicable, grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Greg Sharpe Jessica Coody with you here on a Tuesday night. 402-413-2400, the number to dot us up with a comment or question if you want to be a part of the program here in the last 15 minutes or so of the show. What a show. Jimmy Vaughn was fantastic in hour one. We talked to NIL, and then Justin LaPera joining us, the main producer for Day by Day, which debuts this week. Sounds like they're still working out ways to distribute it outside the state. That's a process to get through that. It's also a financial commitment, I'm sure, to get through that as well. But he was fantastic, and I can't wait. I'm ready to see this.
I know. It's going to be so fun, and so many stories, and I can only imagine what it was like sitting in there on those interviews and hearing those guys tell some of those stories, and yeah, I can't wait.
You know, and there probably is almost as good as stuff that doesn't make the movie that does, because maybe it's a little inappropriate, maybe it's a little too edgy, or didn't kind of fit the narrative of what they were trying to do. So, yeah, I'm sure he's got hours and hours of tape to go through to try to piece that together.
That happens all the time, where it's just, gosh, and it crushes you, but yeah, you can't. It just, there's a timetable that you got, a time frame that you got to fit it into. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, you said it during the break. Couldn't miss my shot to give a throw a little shot at Brendan Stye.
he can take it. He's bounce right off of him. You know, it's and I thought Justin said a pretty interesting thing there too. So many people live that era, yes, but there's a lot of people that are alive today that did not experience those 4 or 5 years of Husker football. It's going to be a great history lesson for them to what was that like to be a part of that.
Well, and you know too, it's just things in the sports world have opened up so much more since then because of social media, because of the access. You think about, you know, back then not everybody did interviews, and you didn't see them unless you watched the news, and now you can watch it on a podcast, or you can hear them on so many different platforms that you hear some of these stories now that you never would have heard then. So yeah, like he said, it was needed to be done, because right. I'm sure there's so many stories that, as he said, that we had no idea what went into it, because there just wasn't as much access back then.
It will be fascinating to see, and I know, folks, we will continue to kind of follow us. A lot of you who listen to Sports Nightly won't be able to get to Lincoln over the weekend to see that, and as soon as we get more information about where it's going to be available, when, we'll certainly be passing that along to you, because, again, a lot of folks who are listening tonight probably did go to games in that era or were cognizant of Husker football, but you run into more. Well, you and Andrew, you guys wouldn't have been even around. That's why The Last Dance, I think, was so popular, because people who didn't live through the Bulls run go, wow, he was an unbelievable player.
Well, and even just the people that weren't basketball fans that got to see, because it was entertaining. It was a fascinating story. And so even if you weren't an NBA fan, you didn't watch it at that time, which part of it was COVID. It was everybody was on their edge of their seats for anything and everything. But even, I had a friend that had no idea that the Bulls and about the dynasty, and then again, you have this vault of information that had never been shared. And so to get all of that, it was people couldn't get enough of it. And so, yeah, I mean, it was an era that a lot of these young fans that maybe were super, super young then, that you have no idea what went into it, or maybe you were a fan of the program then and didn't know some of these stories.
Yeah, so it'll be fascinating. So again, thanks to Justin for spending some time. I know it's a crazy week for him because he's getting ready to get set up here in Lincoln and get ready for it to go. And as he said, probably even putting a final edit or two together. That's how it kind of works. Sometimes you're not quite done and you're going, I need to make this little section a little bit better. I need to punch it up here. I need to get a little bit better shot here. So he may be tweaking that even here at the 11th hour.
And it's just when it's something like this big and it means so much to you, then you just keep watching it over and over again. And audio issues, I mean, literally everything that you can think of, just tweaking, making sure it's perfect and ready to go. But so exciting, and but it's going to be just such a huge, rewarding feeling, but huge weight off the shoulder once he sees it on the big screen on Thursday night.
402-413-2400. That's the number for you to dial us up with a comment, a question, or fire off a text. Need to slip our final break of the night in. We're back to wrap up tonight's show next.
A tradition of winning doesn't happen overnight. Like any team, you got to be tough, play smart, and work hard. No one understands this more than Ford Motor Company. They built the best team in the game with Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks 45 years straight. The iconic Ford Bronco and the most powerful Ford Explorer ever. Shop online at buyfordnow.com or visit your local Ford dealer to buy or custom build the perfect truck or SUV for you. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
Happy Monday, everybody!
Yay! Sure glad the weekend is over.
I know. Nothing's better than a new work week.
Yay! The proceeding was a dramatization, but it could happen now that a Monday night Powerball drawing has been added. Along with the Wednesday and Saturday night drawings, now you can also win Monday Night Millions. Who knows? It may change everyone's view of Monday.
Let's have a 3-hour Monday meeting.
Yay! Powerball from the Nebraska Lottery. Top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Greatness doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, focus, and dedication. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that because we put in the hard work and dedication for decades. And that commitment is paid off with award-winning customer service for your auto, home, and life insurance.
See Shelter Agent Brent Custer in Broken Bow and ask about Shelter's competitive rates.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card, free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
Whether you compete on the court, at the track, on the field, or in the fields, winning isn't just a goal. It's a mindset, shaped, honed, and defined throughout the season. That's why farmers pushing themselves to be the best plant DeKalb brand corn. Wherever you compete, winning has roots. Perform at your best with DeKalb. Always read and follow grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, it is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you for a couple more minutes here on a Tuesday night. A couple of text questions for us. John said you guys were talking about NIL. Do you guys think that these businesses are really getting a good return on investment for these NIL deals with these college athletes? I don't know. I think that's going to be
a work in progress.
That's a work in progress, and I think that's something that businesses are going to have to analyze. Is it worth how much they're spending? And that will help determine the market too. Okay, it's worth this much. It may not be worth that much. So I think that's going to be determined. Figuring out if it's worth it to, do what they're doing, what they're investing in certain appearances or performances, whatever. But then also, are the teams winning? If I'm helping to contribute to this NIL deal, which ultimately helps with recruiting, there are going to be some programs that maybe are getting a lot of people that are pouring money into, and maybe they don't win, then maybe they'll think twice about it. Athlete gets hurt, doesn't play for 6 months. You're going, well, okay, they did my commercials for my pizza joint or whatever it is, and they're not playing, so nobody knows who that is. So that's the risk you take, and that's the thing about this that I think we're going to have to play our way through in the next couple of years. And so I do think it's going to evolve as we go along, and some things that we're worried about now, or college administrators are worried about now, may never happen. But there may be things that happen that they're not even thinking about. So I think I said this story a couple weeks ago. I saw Ronnie Green a while back, and I said, how many times when you're talking to other presidents and chancellors does NIL come up? He says, every time we talk, it comes up. Well, that's what I was saying when I asked him about it, is there's a lot of duties that go into working for compliance. And they had a crazy job before NIL happened of, monitoring all these everything you can think of to make sure that the athletics department's being compliant with the NCAA rules and regulations. And so I don't know how they find the time in the day to manage all the things that they have to manage and take care of. But now you throw in this in the mix where and you heard him say every single day it's something new. There's something else coming out that you have to stay monitoring. Yeah, it's wild. All right. Somebody also said, do we have the website again for Day by Day? I did not write that down. Did you write that down? It's I just had it, daybydaymovie.com, I think. Okay, daybydaymovie.com if you want to get some more information, and keep looking at that site. As he said, they're going to update where they're going to be able to distribute this as they get moving along. So and follow them on social media, and they have updates there too. So there you go if you want to get on to that there. Tomorrow we'll have another full show. We're going to do another edition of the Big Ten Blitz. Gary Pepin is going to join us. Huskers are headed to Minneapolis for the Big Ten Outdoors. I think both the men and women have a chance to do some damage at the Big Ten Outdoors. I think we'll get some winners, some individual winners. So we'll get I told Gary, be sure you pull into a rest stop. Don't be trying to drive and talk to us on the phone. That is it's dangerous for him. So I think he'll do that. I can't wait. I love always getting to talk with him. And yeah, this is a big weekend for them. Sure and is. I think they were a little bit disappointed in how the indoors went. They had men got third, so but it was okay. I think they were going in expecting to win it. And then the hurdler, the 50-meter hurdler. Oh my God, Luff, Darren Luff, right? Yes, yeah. Yeah, he got disqualified. Oh, in a freak accident. They were moving one of the shot put cages, and it sounded like the gun went off. So I'll bet he comes in with a vengeance this weekend. I would think so. There's a handful of Huskers that can win Big Ten championships this weekend. So Gary will give us a rundown. You're also going to try to catch up with somebody from the softball team. They're just going to be hanging out tomorrow. They're already there. They don't play, though. They're there, and some of them will be taking some finals online, but they'll be hanging out, so we'll be able to spend some time with them tomorrow. Good. Thanks again to Justin LaPera from the movie Day by Day and Jamie Vaughn, head of compliance in Nebraska. Some really good information headed your way tonight here on Sports Honey. Thanks to Andrew for steering the ship, and to all of you for listening. Have a great night. We're back with another full show. Sports Honey headed your way tomorrow night. Good night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
There is no place like Nebraska, and there's no place that treats you like home like Sapp Brothers. For 50 years, Sapp Brothers has fueled America's heartland and been a reliable partner to local farms and Husker fans across Nebraska. providing the highest quality fuel, lubricants, and propane, servicing your farming equipment and welcoming guests into their travel centers. Visit www.sapbros.net. Sap Brothers is proud to be an official partner of Husker Athletics.
Shop Woodhouse Ford first and experience the difference. The all-new 2022 Bronco Sport is built wild for the thrill seeker, the sightseer, and the day tripper. A capable and dependable SUV that's ready to tackle the dirt, dust, and mud. Bronco Sport offers 4 models to match the way you explore the outdoors. Shop, finance, and buy your way. Online at WoodhouseFord.com or one of our 3 convenient Ford locations in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he's so hot. The air conditioning is out again. But wait, he sees an opening. SOS! SOS, he screams and calls 391-2336. SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer. Boy, he made the right call today as SOS is already on the way. SOS is your trustworthy company since 1950, and with Luxair, you get free 10-year labor warranty with the new system. Call 391-2336.